IMP ICFP is an integrated tool with our budgeting system, IMP Planner, and it pulls together your staffing from the budget, you create your curriculum plan, and then it generates your ICFP dashboards. It helps our customers because it's all stored in one place and it's automatically linked to the budget. So often we hear that many MATs are calculating ICFP off system, and that might be a once a year process alongside budget setting. But once you've done that work off system, it becomes out of date as soon as you've basically done it. And it takes a lot of manual reconciliation because you're having to pull the information from your budgeting system into a separate spreadsheet. Maybe you make changes to those staffing curriculum plans, and then by the time you compare it again to what you had in the budget, the two don't look the same. So I suppose it removes that manual effort. When trusts might be calculating their ICFP metrics in an Excel spreadsheet, you've got the native problems of working in a spreadsheet, so human error, maybe difficulty of where certain formulas picking up from, whereas within the IMP ICFP tool, you can click onto any metric, you can see exactly what the formula is to calculate that metric, and you can see what's been included within it. So let's say maybe you're reviewing your pupil-teacher ratio. You can click onto that and you can see what pupils are pulling into that and what staffing pictures within that. So you've always got that ability to drill into a metric as well. Where we're seeing our secondary school customers gain real value is digging into some of those curriculum quality pieces. So we report on metrics that are a bit above and beyond some of your typical ICFP metrics. So we've got things like you can calculate how expensive a department is, and arguably is that where your more experienced staff sit, and maybe you might move on to looking, well actually does that link with outcomes? Is that where we see our better results? You can also dig into the percentage of periods being taught by specialists, so you can look at, well actually how many lessons have we got being taught by non-specialists, and you can dig into that and link it with your recruitment plans for future. Where we're seeing our primary schools gain real benefits is digging into support staff analysis. So looking at how do we utilise our support staff time, where are they being deployed? If we think about a teaching assistant example, how much time is generic class support, what might be one-to-one support, and what might be PPA cover, and actually starting to dig into how are we utilising our staff? Does that link with our strategic vision, and are we, I suppose, using them in areas of priority? And we break down non-contact time further than just looking at potentially leadership or PPA, which is often as far as other ICFP analysis goes. Here we want to understand, well actually, how is that leadership time being spent, and breaking it down into reasonable headings that are then useful to start analysing. So the biggest benefit of IMP ICFP is that it's linked with your budget. So your pupil numbers are driven from the budget, your staffing picture is also pulling from the budget, so you know that your curriculum staff and your finance staff are always working on the same figures. Where we see ICFP implemented successfully in trusts is when they collaborate with staff wider than just your finance team. And within the tool, you can give access to certain areas, to certain people. So you can, give your curriculum leaders access to the ICFP module. That doesn't mean they can see the budget, but it means they can see the areas that they've got oversight of. So you can start to model, different curriculum plan options. Maybe you want to look at, we might want to put on different subjects or different options next year. Well, actually, what's the cost of that? And what if we change the staffing structure? What if we change the pupil group numbers? And you can trial all those different scenarios and see the impact instantly as to, well, actually, what does that mean for the budget too? So within the IMP ICFP tool, you're able to benchmark amongst the trust, and you can group similar schools together. So you might put your primaries and secondaries, or high deprivation, low deprivation, 1 form entry primaries, 2 form entry primaries. You can compare your most similar schools. And then further than that, what we heard from a lot of customers was they want to be able to benchmark externally, so you can see how you compare nationally against peers as well. So we've also recently announced a partnership with ISBL to build in their ASOT thresholds into the IMP ICFP tool. Being an IMP Planner customer, the benefit of then having IMP ICFP alongside that is you've already got half of the picture stored in your IMP Planner. So you've got that staffing information already in there and kept up to date. So you're really only having to build your curriculum plan and allocate that staffing picture out against that, rather than having to start from scratch in a separate spreadsheet.